Gentlemen, I want to welcome you to our session this morning. I'm looking forward to hosting Ms Stuurman and her views on cybersecurity. About the network, we are a learning network. We focus on smart city technology, municipal digital evolution, cybersecurity, artificial intelligence. We alternate between these subjects on a monthly basis. So this is our last session for the current year. Next year, January, end of January, we will have our first session. For the first quarter of next year, I'm planning to focus on cybersecurity only. The purpose is for us to learn from each other and to improve service delivery from what we learn. And I understand this is an incremental process. The learnings is just seeds that are planted, and seeds has to be watered and nurtured before it culminates into anything. Our mission is to take local government from turmoil to strategy to development to service excellence. The foundation of our learning is to imagine the future. We cannot change the future by accepting things as they are. And the purpose of learning is so that we can equip ourselves to change the future and influence the future. But if we don't have a vision for the future, we've got nothing to anchor. We've got nothing to hold on to. So in your mind, in your time, in your space, decide what it is that you would like to establish in the future and anchor on that. We are not part of this network to just do our daily chores and go on with our daily activities. We are in this network so that we can build an alternative future than the news forecasts. I'd like to introduce Ms Tandile Stuurman. She's the Chief Information Officer for the Department of Public Service and Administration. I was trying to calculate how long we know each other, and I think it's about 15 or 17 years. So Tandile, thank you very much for offering up your time to be on the platform today. And I'd just like to allude a bit to who you are. You are the CIO for the DPSA. You've got 18 years experience across pharmaceutical, engineering, energy, and government sectors. Tandile leads IT strategy, governance, cybersecurity, digital transformation programs, and this includes cloud migration, Office 365, SharePoint, modernization, workflow digitization, and business continuity improvements. As a Chartered Chief Information Officer, with a postgraduate diploma in Information and Technology Management, she's currently completing a Master in ICT Management at the University of Pretoria. She chairs the Public Service Governance, Risk and Compliance Standing Committee within the Government Information Technology Officers Council. Her leadership has been recognized by listings such as a winner in the Next Gen category at the World CIO 200 Summit in 2025, Top 100 Influential Women in Technology, and South Africa's Top 50 IT Leaders in Cybersecurity and Digital Transformation. Tandile, welcome on the platform. We are looking forward to your presentation.
Thank you so much, David, for that introduction. Good morning, colleagues. Thank you for the opportunity to be with you today. I am looking forward to this conversation. And as CIOs, we have a unique role of translating technical risks into business languages, guiding strategies, and ensuring that innovation and security work together, not in oppositions. So I am gonna begin my presentation. I hope all colleagues can see.
Yes, you are visible.
Yes,
Thank
we
you.
can see it. Thanks.
My side, it's not on presentation mode. Is it on presentation mode? Because I'm clicking. Okay, now it is. Is it on presentation mode, colleagues?
Yes, it is.
Okay. Thank you so much. Can you hear me? Am I audible?
Tandile, you're audible and presentation mode is on.
Thanks. Colleagues, we're going to start by looking at the importance of cybersecurity in the digital age. In today's digital landscape, cybersecurity is no longer just about technical issues. It has become the central pillar of departmental strategies and even national security. The growing dependency on ICT has transformed how we operate, how we communicate, and how we deliver services. But it has also expanded the attack surface and exposed us to a wide range of cyber threats. The rise of digital technology means that cyber attacks are now impacting everyone, our citizens, everyone that we are serving. These incidents are just no longer about, not just limited to data theft or financial losses, but they can disrupt our services, weaken the economy, and even pose a threat of national security. We need to proactively have cybersecurity strategies that we can anticipate emerging threats, detect them early, and respond quickly. This includes protecting digital infrastructure that the organizations rely on, and also safeguarding privacy, personal data, people that we serve. The value of public sector cybersecurity. We often discuss cybersecurity in terms of compliance and risk. Avoiding breaches, we focus on avoiding audit findings and just being in the headlines of the news. But really, colleagues, cybersecurity is a business value enabler for government. It underpins safeguarding citizen data, critical infrastructure, public trust, digital transformation, service continuity, and resilience. Cybersecurity is not a cost center, it's a value enabler. And this is something that we need to drive as technology leaders, and we just, because it is not easy to invest in cybersecurity because it's a back end, but we need to drive that conversation that it's not just a cost center, but a value enabler. When government systems are compromised or unavailable, it slows down the economy activity, disrupts services, and undermines the confidence of the state. So cybersecurity is not just an IT issue. It's critical to economy stability, digital services, and the protection of the national infrastructure. And when we look at e-governance dependency on visibility, on visible commitment to security, colleagues, where citizens don't really trust our services, then they will not use services. That means security must be visible with clear privacy notices, security logins mechanism, strong authentication, transparent communication when issues happen. We must make sure that we continuously do such things. And when we look at trust, it underpins all the success of digital government services. At the heart of digital transformation, there must be trust because we are serving the people. trust that the systems will be available when needed, trust that the personal information will be handled responsible in accordance to the law, trust that the government will act quickly and transparent if something goes wrong. The trust also goes with transparency. So when we invest in cybersecurity, we must not just tick the compliance box. We are to protect business value, enabling digital transformation, building trust that is essential for modern digital government. Cybersecurity is therefore a strategic leveler for better governance, better service delivery, not just a technical controller. The shift. Here, colleagues, I wanted us just to reflect that in early stages of the digital technology adoption, cybersecurity concerns were limited to just your antivirus and also to minimize unauthorized access. However, the landscape has increased because we really rely on digital platforms to drive the service delivery. The shift has ushered new eras of cyber threats, and it has also changed the way we work. Understand that most of us here, we don't even have CISOs. As a CIO, you wear two hats, where you are the CIO and also you are the CISO. It has its benefits on that. Cybersecurity is now a business and a governance issue, not just an IT issue, which means we must make sure that cybersecurity objectives align with the overall business goals and objectives. We should not categorize IT risk to be just handled by IT or one person in the organization. We must take the conversation to our cybersecurity risk carry reputational and legal implications, and senior management in our organizations should be aware of this, and we must make sure that it's integrated in our overall risk management strategy. And as CIO, it's important that we understand our business environments, the impact of cyber threats on our business, as well as corresponding cyber risks. We need to determine who is accountable and responsible for the important task of maturing the risk, cybersecurity's privacy and resilience. So these can't just be the work of IT, but we must more work in collaboration within the organization and ensure that there's accountability and responsibility taken by everyone that is playing the role in these to make sure that we have a posture that is good for the organization. Also, we should consider our customers, people, intangible and tangible assets as key assets, and we categorize them. So sometimes we do our risk assessment and we look at the risk. We tend to forget the people, and we tend not to put them in our risk registers, and we see their behaviors because this is quite important in cybersecurity. So when we look at prioritizing for cybersecurity leaders, I look in three areas where we speak about performance and the ability to drive continuous improvement in the effectiveness and of cyber security programs. The public doesn't see cyber incidents. They see government that cannot serve them. So it is then important that we have, sorry, colleagues, I had another screen coming up. So it is then important that our business continuity are robust and we do backups, and our incident response is also in line. And when we speak about resilience, here, colleagues, resilience is essential for national stability, economic confidence, and ability to respond effectively in crisis. Agility, we need to not be just stick to the way we were doing things. We must be flexible, and also our plans must be flexible in the sense that when we need to change our plans, it is easy for us to change our plans. So, for example, you can have a policy and a strategy. However, your day-to-day operations are on your policies and your procedures, and at least your policies and procedures, when they need to be approved, they don't take long, because normally they are approved by the CIO and in consultation with the steering committee. So you must make sure that things that are operational and they need to be changed quickly, they sit in documents that can easily be changed, and not the documents that will need approval of many people. But it also goes to investment and just the programs that we used. And when we look at the impact of emerging technologies in cybersecurity, this one is a double-edged sword, because they bring the excitement, and in the excitement that they bring, also they bring headaches, and they transform how we deliver services and engage to citizens. However, they also have reshaped our cybersecurity risk. And as CIOs, we must understand the both sides, how we can use the technology and how the technology can be a threat to our environment. For example, while AI can be used to develop more sophisticated attacks, such as deepfake, it can also enable fast threat detection and response. Blockchain offers data integrity, but it also has limitations on smart contracts, and they have flaws. So as CIOs, it's important that when we implement these technologies, we embed security by design in every program, and also understand our risk management frameworks so that they can reflect they can reflect the emerging technologies, and also modernize architectures to reduce complexity and ensure that governance structures are actively overseeing the implications of the new technology. Our role is to enable innovation safely and not to block it. So I know these technologies give us headaches. However, we must drive. For example, I know when the AI note-taking started, we had that problem in the organization where everyone was downloading it, and we needed to quickly do awareness related to that, and just make people aware of those the risks, and while they have benefits. The adoption of cyber risk management frameworks and governance. So colleagues, for us to move from reactive firefighting to true resilience, we need clear cybersecurity management frameworks and strong governance. And this will allow departments to make informed decisions, prioritize correctly, and also explain, as CIOs, we will be able to explain to the leadership, the auditors and citizens, why we chose to prioritize certain things. There must be a formal framework, not an ad hoc risk register. So the framework helps to identify, analyze, and prioritize cyber risks. I know we have international frameworks, but I'm aware that the state security is working on a framework for South Africa. I'm not sure how far that is, but we have your NIST, your ESOs that we can use, because these give common language to talk about risk with executive, internal audit, business owners, and ensure that we focus on much critical threats, not just the latest incident. And before we start scoring risks, we must understand our organizational context. What are our services? What are we delivering? Who we are servicing? And our obligations in terms of regulations and our current maturity. So sometimes we don't even understand the current maturity or our security posture and the risk management frameworks. They assist us to even identify where we are, what are the controls that we don't have. And at a minimum, frameworks and risk assessment should be done at least annually, or whenever there's a major change, such as legislation. But also, colleagues, when, let's say, you move your workloads from on-prem to cloud, it is important that you do your risk assessments. And because when you're moving, for example, from on-prem to cloud, it might mean that you are moving in new geographical areas. Excuse me. It might mean that you are moving to new geographical areas where you are launching new services. And what that means, you need to understand the regulation, move wherever you're moving to. We are fortunate that most of the cloud providers have they have presence in South Africa. However, people that, for example, moved their workloads a long time ago, it could be that they are not, their workloads are not in South Africa. And it is important that we understand what are the new risks we are taking, and we manage them. And instead of saying we have vulnerabilities in system X, we must be able to speak the language that the business understand. And part of adopting cybersecurity management frameworks and governance assist us to do that, where we now make people understand that the vulnerability that we have can affect this system, and what that it means that people will not receive, for example, their grants, or people will not receive their salaries, or we will not be able to have meetings. So it's important that we articulate the risks according to what business will understand. We must connect everything that we speak about to the real world impact. This will help executive understand why we are mitigating specific risk, and I think it assist us even get funding. We should also, these assist us to work with executive by defining our risk appetite. This gives us a mandate. We know when to escalate, when to invest, and when to accept the risk. And when you don't have a risk management framework and the governance in place, it is then difficult. In short, colleagues, adopting a cyber risk management, adopting a risk management framework and strong governance gives us consistency, transparency, and accountabilities. It ensures that cyber security is managed like other strategic risk with evidence and clear prioritization. And we looking at integrating cybersecurity and enterprise risk management. We must position cyber as a business risk, not just an IT issue. This includes this integration, the risk unit, IT, security must work together in this and change the conversation that it's not just an IT risk, but service disruption, data loss, financial impact, reputational damage, and then risk, that cyber risk must be linked to strategic objectives, must be linked to our APPs and our AOPs. When the colleagues are doing risk register for strategic objectives and APPs and AOPs, we must also take lead and work with the risk unit. So the best people to partner with is the risk unit for you to elevate the conversation about the management of risks. Our risk security programs should have the same language and methodology as our enterprise risk management. So you can't take, let's say you are using a risk register, you just download or use a framework that is not the same as the organization, because that will confuse the leadership and other people. Work with your risk unit and use exactly the same language that they use, and that will assist and define clear governance and accountability. So as I said, colleagues, work with your risk unit, your HR. For example, from our side, what we did, we make sure that the performance agreements of DDGs all have cybersecurity targets. And also we made sure that the strategic risk register have targets of cybersecurity, and these risks are sitting in each and every DDG's risk register. They report on those risks monthly and quarterly. So we must make sure that we are integrating and really working together with the risk unit. We should make sure that there's continuous review and improvement on what we have in the risk register. Establishing stakeholder roles and responsibilities. So I think the slides that I spoke to, which is your framework, your integration to the enterprise risk, and this one speaks together. You can't speak about having frameworks and not really having clear roles and responsibilities. And cybersecurity it requires everyone in the organization to participate and to provide their responsibilities. However, we can't get this in place if we don't have clear roles and responsibilities. And you can't now, because I see sometimes when an incident happens, then we want to articulate our roles and responsibilities. There's one unit that we normally forget, which is your security unit. And those, we normally forget them. And they are quite important to this work. And yeah, so executive, they set they must make sure that there's funding. They oversee cybersecurity initiatives. Managers, they must manage their data processes. And one of the things that we lack in government is data governance and data classification. And managers need to drive that to make sure that it's clear. And then your risk unit, your legal and HR. Another thing, colleagues, when an incident happens, let's say there was personal data, are you aware what process to for you to report that in information regulator? It should not be an IT responsibility. Legal should be responsible for that. But don't wait for an incident to happen for you to go to legal. Establish those roles and responsibilities. And promoting a proactive approach in cyber incident response. Proactive approach to cybersecurity incidents response is critical because it minimizes the potential impact of an attack, save time, money, and maintain the public trust by preventing damage. The first step is really to establish clear governance around the incidents, have an approved incident response plan, define roles and responsibility, escalating path involved, and the value chain, not just IT, but risk, legal, communication, and business owners of those critical services. And here, colleagues, sometimes the incident response, we normally just have that document, which is known only by IT. So it's important that those are clear governance are in place, roles and responsibilities, and we collaborate with other stakeholders. And we must not wait for the real crisis. We must test our plan, run tabletop exercise a few times a year, and make sure that when you run the exercise, it's not just you IT people, but you run the exercise with the executive teams. Your risk must be there, legal must be there, communication must be there to see that should an incident happen, are we going to be able to really, and it's not just about recovering, but also taking ownership. Are we going to be able to work together, or there's going to be conflicts? And that way you are able to identify the gaps before an incident happen. Also, we must focus on early detection and reporting, utilizing the tools that we already have. Sometimes we don't use the tools that we have. For example, log files, the alerts, where alerts, let's say a user picks up that this email is a phishing email, they can easily alert IT that this is happening. So a proactive approach is not about just buying another tool. It is about planning, learning continuity, so that when an incident happens, the organization responds calmly, collectively, rather than in panic. And I looked at strategic and operational principles that we as CIOs can look into. That is incorporating security into the initial design on systems and services, implementing multiple layers of defense to protect against threats, operate principle of never trust, always verify, and require authentication for every interaction, and effectively managing cybersecurity risk, buying systems that can withstand and recover from attacks. Recognize that security is an ongoing process. So our first line of defense here, I would say we must make sure that our systems are updated and really okay, yeah. Sorry, colleagues. As a CIO, we need to, as CIOs, we need to work from the assumption that a cybersecurity will happen. The question is not if or when, but when and how we are prepared. And a proactive mindset means that we don't only react when something breaks, we identify our most critical information, and we plan for these incidents and for these attacks. And it is so crucial for us to maintain continuity for public services and to protect the citizen data. So the first thing that we need to do to keep our systems updated and patched. And when we look at most of the incidents that happened, people don't patch. Yeah, it's something really that is requires that we must have a structured patch management scheduled, so you can have your make sure that your team has every month they do patches, and they work overtime. You pay that overtime, but we must make sure that we schedule our patches and prioritize critical vulnerabilities, especially internet-facing services and core business systems. Colleagues, if there's a core business, we must move our budgets of that to just close those. Something that we must consider. Strengthen identity and access, and enforce strong password and multi-factor authentication. We did a vulnerability assessment with state security. I think our password length then, this was last year, was 8, yes, with special characters and all that. But the recommendation was that we must have a 15, and we have multi-factor authentication. So it's things that we need to look into. Apply this privilege. We can't be having employees having administrator rights on computers. We must also just remove it.
Tandile, there's a bit of a problem with your sound.
Oh, okay.
The sound breaks up. Yes, we can hear you.
And I'm in the office. I thought the network would be better here. Am I better now?
Yes, you are.
Okay. And how am I doing with time?
You've got 5 minutes.
Okay. So yeah, we must also make sure that compliance with standards and regulations. And colleagues, here is one of the most important things: people, culture, and awareness. We must build a human firewall. Our people must be firewalls. And I think for local government, people are not just only about employees, but also the people that you serve. Cybersecurity awarenesses should be an ongoing programs, not once off, and also allow people to, if they've made mistakes, give them an opportunity, not a reason to blame. So what we do from our side, when we, let's say we have an awareness, or we are testing people, and then a person clicks what they were not supposed to click, what we do, we have a one-on-one training for those specific people who clicked in things they were not supposed to click. Instead of, we move away from just blaming people or escalating them to their managers. As a result, it changes the attitude. And also make sure that your awarenesses are tailor-made for your executive, line managers, general, and communities, as you are serving the communities in local government. And integrate your cybersecurity into induction programs, performance management. Recognize and reward employees for taking secure actions. For example, when someone alerts IT that I got this phishing email, recognize that, and you can just work with communication and recognize that people in the organization. And recognizing and addressing resource constraints. So I think as government, we all have this a constraint of people, and it's important. And cybersecurity, colleagues, it's not something that you can really manage on your own. It needs collaboration. It needs collaboration with other people, public, private, and also institutions like your educational institutions, and also during procurement and technology procurement, make sure that you include your MFA, your security features that you would want. Make sure that you include them in your RFP or RFQ. And also consider migrating any IT services to cloud, because normally cloud comes with an embedded security features. However, you must make sure that before you migrate anything, your workloads to cloud, you understand the business need, you understand the data classification and data privacy of that. And also, we must utilize free cybersecurity tools and services that are offered by other departments. I know CETA, they normally do the risk assessment for free using, I think, NIXT framework. And then the state security would do the vulnerability and penetration test for free, although I know because of capacity they might take longer, but we must really look at what we can get for free. I know also CETA provides your awarenesses that can be used. So let's use that, colleagues. And in closing, colleagues, cybersecurity is everyone's responsibility. And it's important that as CIO, as IT leaders, we articulate this really to the organization, that it's a team effort. It can't be done by CIO alone. So we must improve in how we coordinate our work and how we work with the organization and promote that culture. And I think for local government, it even goes beyond that than just the organization, but also the people that we serve. They must understand that when you are using our system, this is your roles and responsibility. You must make sure that you don't share your password. So our awarenesses must not just focus on the organization, but also the people that we serve. And I thank you, colleagues. That is my presentation and my story. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ms Stuurman. It's appreciated what you've shared. Of course, I've got a few questions that I'm going to ask, but let's open the floor for questions. Remember, colleagues, she's in the field. She does this work from day to day, so you can ask practical questions. So anybody with a question, please raise your hand. Or if you want to make a comment. Celeste, can you please unmute yourself? Celeste, there's something wrong with your sound. It shows on my side that you don't have a microphone on your computer. I forgot to activate the permission to unmute. Give me a moment. Okay, I've enabled the ability to unmute yourself, so please do so.
Thank you very, very much for the brilliant presentation and really giving us the full package of cybersecurity. I'm just really interested to find out more about the software that is available in terms of different security features that one can procure. And then also the Wit maybe going forward also to try to just coordinate for our district also, or I could also do that from the district forum, who's using what and at what cost and what features, you know, just a table so that we can actually see what's out there, what products they are available and how deeply they basically penetrate or can protect us from which particular attacks and so forth, if that's possible.
Okay. Tandile, do you want to respond? I think it's a long-term question on what software is out there. So let's bank that one for a later response. Anybody else with a question before I pop mine? Okay, I'm going to ask, I sent Tandile two questions beforehand, and she's addressed them in her presentation. So Tandile, how often do you have a cybersecurity meeting with your team, and how do you involve the business into understanding cybersecurity intelligence?
Please repeat the last sentence.
How do you involve the business in understanding cybersecurity intelligence? So the changing threat landscape.
Okay. Thanks, colleagues. And I'll start with Celeste as question. I think you touched on that, Divette. So it's important first we understand. That's why we must use the frameworks. The frameworks have controls, and in the controls then you will decide what is the priority. For example, your firewall, your antivirus, your access control. So it's important that you have a view of what needs to be in place first before you buy other technologies, really. And I will look for a slide with controls and just articulate this thing properly. And I will come back to you, Celeste. I'm looking for.
If I can just also add to that question, because I'm actually in legal services also. So I am managing and coordinating a POPI coordinating committee. And I see basically a strong alignment in terms of especially the protection of the data, in terms of the Protection of Personal Information Act. And I'm looking at the roles and responsibilities that you've had on your slides. And I really like that in terms of aligning it to the POPI Coordinating Committee. And there they've also got the regulator and also the code of conduct. So I'm also looking at aligning the ICT with that basic functionality or need in the organization. Thank you.
Yeah. Thanks, Celeste, for that. So yeah, these are the cyber domain controls, and what you are investing on, the software will be informed by the controls that as an organization you choose, that this is what is important for us currently right now. And if it starts, I think it's identification, it's your detection and resilience, which is your response. I think NIST have four of these, but it's something that as an organization, it can't be the same. But as you are saying, it is important that we coordinate and we make sure that where you are able to get a software from another organization within government, you do that. And let's go to Divette's question. How often do you have meetings with your team? So based on cybersecurity, we have like strictly monthly meetings. However, we meet often because especially now with working from home, we had issues with our business, so we meet often than we usually do. However, when there's a need for us to meet, we meet, but on our calendars, strictly looking at cybersecurity, we have monthly meetings where we look at the vulnerability assessments and your posture of the organization. how we are supposed to put controls in there. And then how we involve business. So I spoke about that integration with the risk unit. We work very closely with our risk unit, and we make sure that, as I said, that the strategic risk register has cybersecurity risks there. Some I'm responsible for, some the DGs are responsible. For example, the awareness and trainings for the people. We make sure that that is on the DDG's a risk register. So we report on ESCO, on those risks, the mitigations, the controls, where we are, and what we really need. And also I make sure that the audit findings are also discussed on ESCO level. They understand the investment that is needed, what is needed there. Yeah, that's all. Thanks.
Thank you very much. Khabisile, you're welcome to unmute yourself.
Good morning. Thank you so much. I appreciate the presentation. I just want to understand, because in the organization I'm in, the risk management units and the ICT are different units. So how do we go about adopting the cybersecurity risk management framework? Is it going to be a joint document, or it's just going to be maybe one unit is going to be responsible for it? And also my second question is, we also have the ICT risk register. Do we need to add the cybersecurity risk on the strategic risk register, or is it okay if we just add them on the ICT risk register, which is a separate document? Thank you.
Thank you for that, Khabasile. So also from our side, risk unit and IT at different units. What is important is you must have a conversation with the chief risk officer and make them understand the need for them to support you. You start with conversations. You start having a meeting with, for example, the risk register that you do as IT. The risk unit must have a view of that. They must understand. So even before you go to business, have those meetings together with the risk unit, and it will assist to start that conversation, and also for you to see if the people in the risk unit really understand cybersecurity risks and the impact that they bring in the organization. I would say if you have ICT risk register, the question would be, is the organization aware of the risks, or it's just an IT document? Is the risk register a part of is the risk register part of are you also as IT part of the risk committee, which is not the IT committee but the risk committee of the organization? And are you, even if you're not the member, but are you then a part where you report those risks to the risk committee, because risk committee has all other people from the organization? So what matters is that you might have the risk register separate from the strategic risk register. What is important is, where does it sit? Does the executive have a view of it? Does the risk unit have a view of it? How does it work? And does it speak? Is it aligned with your DRP? Is it aligned with the business continuity of that which the risk unit is important? So that alignment is very important. I don't wanna, but to really make sure that it is understood, I would propose that you move the strategic risk of IT to the strategic risk register, but depending also on how you are managing the process. And then the framework. So the adoption of the framework normally, as I showed those controls, normally the framework is not just an IT responsibility, but the organization responsibility. So it's not just IT adopting the framework. The organization must adopt the framework. What you would start with if you don't have, like, as I said, currently, we have international frameworks. We don't really have a framework for South Africa, but I know State Security is working on that. But what you can do, you can start with risk assessment. So getting in maybe CETA to do a risk assessment for you. The risk assessment does not just assess the IT controls, but it assesses the organizational risk controls. So where you will have your risk unit, where you will have your security, where you will have your HR. That way, I think it puts a light bulb to people that, oh, I'm responsible for this. So you can start with that, and it will then change the conversation in the organization, even if you have not adopted the risks framework. But you will, once you do the assessment, you will have a view on what people are supposed to be doing from security, from risk, and that way you would really change the conversation. Thanks.
Thank you, Tandile. Colleagues, from a local government experience perspective, our risk registers, whether it is strategic or ICT operational, the risk registers identifies the ICT unit as the risk owner. And as we go into digital evolution, if we carefully listen to the whole presentation from the start, we are in the digital evolution era. As we go into digital evolution, there are risks that belong to the business solution owners and even strategic leadership. And we should carefully consider which of those risks are carried by whom, who the risk owner is, and they need to be responsible for the management of that risk and also the application of the controls. We've done for local government in the Western Cape. We didn't do the risk assessment, but we do the assignment of the ownership of controls. And many of our controls are assigned to business solution owners and strategic leadership. So yeah, we can't look at this whole situation from the traditional perspective that IT is in the back office and everything is about compliance, about keeping the Auditor General happy. We are busy with value creation. So thank you very much. Any last questions for Ms Stuurman? Well, thank you very much, everybody, for attending. I see we are from all across South Africa. I had one registration from the United Kingdom, but that person didn't attend. So thank you very much for attending, and thank you for the message that you brought us today, Ms Stuurman. I really appreciate your time. So I'm going to end the event now. And have a blessed holidays, Christmas season, and I hope you enjoy your family and your friends.
Thank you, colleagues.
Thank you, colleagues.
Thank you very much.
Bye.
Thank